and let's just listen to the effects by themselves.
Good God,
That's a tape.
good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good God. Good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good God. Good. I can testify that you are good.
So you can really hear the effect of the compressor clamping down. And this is not even an aggressive. I made sure that I don't have aggressive attack and release settings. Lights, camera, action. Greetings and salutations, boys and girls. Max here for Mellow Media, and welcome to another mixing tutorial. We are in the 5th episode, I would think. Although I've done a lot since we started and I saw gaps in the learning that I just wanted to fill. So I'm going to assume we're on the 5th episode. And this episode really just jumps off from the 2nd episode that we did, where we did a prep for success. And what I did with that episode was I really just laid the foundation for a great mix. It wasn't just like a clickbaity title. It was a real legitimate title. And what I wanted to do was lay the foundation, create the predicate and the pretext for what we're going to do for this. Let's call it a series of getting you and helping you to make the music of your dreams. All right, with the previous 2 episodes, we zoomed into my drum processing, how to get drums banging. And with the previous episode, we zoomed in how to get your mixes more analog, and we covered some awesome theory. Today, I want to build on that. I want to do global versus nested effects. With this episode, we're going to zoom into some of the things I do with my drums and my vocals and stuff, and we're going to zoom out and see what I do on my master bus and my buses as well. And to help us do this, we have a featured song and a featured mix. The song is by Evans Ogboy. It is called You Are Good, and it is good. The song is a banger. Let's get into it.
Very simple song. Very simple song. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good God. Very simple. Everybody say. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good God. Say, I can testify to say. I can testify. Say, lift your hands and say, you are good God. Lord, you brought me out. Lord, you brought me out of darkness into light. You were good. Lord, you are good. Hey, your love never fails. Your love never.
All right, like I said, that is Evans Ogboy with You Are Good. It's a banger. If you like that song, please go and check him out. Give him some likes, give him some subscribes, give him some fire emojis, and tell him that I sent you. I mixed a whole bunch of stuff for him as well that you guys can check out if you are interested in that. All right, let's get to today's lesson. All right, let's start here. Let's start with some basics and build. We're going to start with some basic ways of looking at this concept and then move on to more advanced thoughts. This is an effect. This is a channel strip. Now, if you followed some of my episodes, you know how much I love channel strips, and I spoke about them at length. Right, and this channel strip is on my snare as an insert, or as I'm going to refer to it in this episode, as a local effect, because it only has an effect on the snare as we're about to demonstrate. All right, so you can see when I move the parameters, this has an effect. Next, we're going to zoom all the way out. So that we zoomed all the way in. Now we're going to zoom all the way out to a global effect. This is a very popular plugin. I don't even need to tell you what this is. And unlike the snare that I just demonstrated, when I do something on here, it has a global effect.
Everybody just clap your hands, say, hey, 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 you say, very simple song, very simple song.
So this has a global effect. The channel strip I demonstrated has a local effect. This has an effect on absolutely everything. Think of it this way. The light switch in my room specifically has an effect on that room. The power on the DB board or the switch on the DB board has an effect on the whole house. And I like how we're talking about audio and decibels and as a DB board and how my analogies are just so peak. Now, let's move to the second half of this title, which is nested effects. It may sound fancy and esoteric until you see it's just plain vanilla parallel compression and general parallel processing. So, I probably demonstrated this in how to analog, but I have a snare channel. And my snare channel goes to a snare bus, as you can see here. And in parallel on the snare, I have a parallel compressor as a channel strip as well. Who would have thought? And let's demonstrate the effect that this parallel compressor has on the snare. So we're just going to play it over here. Now we're going to get to what the parallel compression on a snare does specifically, but you can hit me up in the comments and let me know what you noticed. But let's just zoom in further on what it does on the snare, and you will see it's just plain Jane parallel processing. We're just gonna go here, press listen so that we're only hearing this track. Let's go. So as you can see, it is parallel compression on the snare. So the snare channel goes to a snare bus, as you can see here, and the parallel compression, the nested effect, goes to the snare bus as well, and they get processed together. And the reason this is a nested effect is because it's only meant for the snare. Now this process or concept is ubiquitous in my session. It's just a nice word for it's all over the show, right? So if we were to check it on the kick as well, I have a parallel compressor on the kick, and let's just go to a section that slaps a little bit and let's see how that is operating.
You say, very simple song, very simple song. I get this.
So, what these nested effects are geared towards, and what my aim is with these nested effects, is to really just make stuff thicker and fuller. And we are going to get into the source of this, like, real nice. Now, the part that I'm about to show you, it is very common. I mean, this is as standard as white on rice, as, you know... I don't know which other analogies to use, but it is very, very standard, and that is parallel compression on your drum kit as a whole. So we're just going to zoom out a bit. So we went with a nested effect, which is kind of like a local effect with a different name, because as I said, it only affects the kick or the snare or the thing that I put it on. Whereas Saturn over here is parallel processing. It is basically on my whole kit. So let's just listen to that. If I were just to solo the drums. So you can hear what parallel processing does. It has the effect of making stuff beefy, more gritty, giving it more body. And I have other nested effects on the drums. I have some tape over here, and I have other distortion plugins. And let's zoom out just a teensy bit more. Instead of it being a local effect or global effect, it is somewhere in between, kind of like a macro effect. So this is what I have on my drum bus. I have a clipper. I'm a big fan of clippers on the drum bus. I find that I just get louder mixes with a clipper on the drum bus. I just get more punchy. And specifically this clipper. This is an amazing clipper.
Everybody just clap your hands, say, hey, 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 hey.
So what this sort of like macro effect, this bus processing is geared towards is just shaving off a little bit of the transients. And it is very likely that I have some automation on it. Yeah, I do have some automation on it, and we'll really delve into that later. But it's just made to shave off a dB or two and just create more headroom for me so I could get louder masters. Do you see how I'm foreshadowing for you guys? Hey, some amazing things is coming. So, Bruce, you might ask, what else can we use as nested effects?
Okay, yeah, sure.
I know you didn't say anything, but I could hear your thoughts.
All right.
What else can we use as nested effects? And I will answer you, Bruce. You can use just about anything that's plausible. For example, I love using tape as nested effects, as I gave you guys a brief look into my drum processing, which yesterday I just filmed the episode on how I do drum processing. I know I left you guys hanging in the live drums masterclass, and your moment is coming, trust me. So zooming into this bass I have here, I also have nested effects, and one such effect I have is the tape. Let's listen to this bass. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Can the basses get some? There we go. So on the bass, as a parallel effect or as a nested effect, I also have tape. And we're just going to bypass it and hear what it does. So if you hear what I'm hearing, you'll hear that the bass gets thicker. And the fun doesn't stop there. So if I just had to go to something else where I put a nested effect, I trust that I've demonstrated enough. I have some nested effects on the vocals. I have over here, I have flywheel, and I probably have this tape machine to make the vocal more creamy. This is on the backing vocals. But this is not on everything. This needs to be pointed out. It's not something that I necessarily put on everything. Younger Max used to just put seasoning on everything. Older Max realizes that mixing thrives off contrast. In order for something to be loud, something needs to be quieter. In order for something to be forward and in your face, something needs to be further back. Without that yin and yang, that contrast, that left and right, that up and down, you wouldn't get the effect if everything is just up in your face. In order for something to be big, something needs to be small. If everything is loud, then nothing is loud. When everything is loud and in your face, it sounds chaotic. And when everything is balanced, we have cosmos.
Message!
So when you keep this tenet of contrast in mind, you can better understand how to use this concept of global versus nested effects, how to effectively use effects as a local effect and as a global effect. And speaking of using global effects better, reverb is something that I used to have as a nested effect. So I used to have a reverb for my snare and a reverb for my vocal and so on and so on. And the same way I demonstrated with the compression and the channel strips and stuff and the tape, it used to go to the channel. And then it gets processed together, and that has its advantages and it also has its disadvantages. So let's have a look at how I reverberate now. So at the bottom of my session is an FX bus. Now let's just quickly talk about the routing of this FX bus. On this FX bus, I have three reverbs. I have a long verb, a half verb, and a quarter verb. Now we spoke about this in Prep for Success on how to get your reverb to pulse for a full bar, half a bar, and a quarter bar. So we spoke about how to get it to reverberate for all of those essentially temporal windows. Yes. And this reverb is no different. It moves to the tempo as we discussed. I mean, like, why would I give y'all source that I don't use myself? And these reverbs get routed to an FX bus, and that FX bus goes to my master bus and gets processed together with everything. And I have this on my snare. Let's go back to the snare. And I have it on the vocal. And the reason I'm choosing a snare because it's very easy to just demonstrate on the snare what it does. The half verb, the quarter verb, the shorter verb, and the long verb. Yes. So let's listen. So that's without reverb. Let's bring in that long verb. Let's bring in that half verb. Let's bring in that quarter verb. So as you can hear, they have different temporal and spatial properties that they add to the snare. Now, how I think of reverb now, as opposed to in the past, I think of reverb as a sound stage. If I want to move something further back, I give it more of the long verb. If I want to move something further forward, I give less of the long verb and more of the short verb, as you heard the effect that they have. So if I were to go to the snare again and just bypass the longer verbs and just have the quarter verb. So you can hear there's reverb on it. You can hear it's in a room, right? But it's closer versus the long verb that will be further away. And what I'm trying to achieve with the snare essentially is to, because it's a live song, with live songs, the client is going to want a bit more reverb than a studio song. So it will sound like this. But in context with the entire song.
I can testify that you are good. You are good, good, God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good.
So as I said, I think of it like a soundstage, moving stuff further forward and moving stuff back. And this is something that is ubiquitous, pervasive on my in my processing. Let's hear it on the lead vocal.
I can testify that you are good. You are good, good, God. You. Oh.
So you can hear the spatial effects, and let us do that.
Very simple song. Very simple song.
Let me just take away all of that, and you can see the nested effects and the global effects on the vocal.
Very simple song. Very simple song. I can testify that you are good.
And if we had to switch the back on without the delay.
I can testify that you are good. You are. I can testify that you are good. You are. I can testify that you are.
So with the lead vocal, I don't really want to push it too far back. I I wanted to maintain a sense of presence, and we're going to get into that. And to highlight what I'm talking about, that depth that I'm talking about, let us contrast the vocal with the snare. And if I got this correct, that means I would have the vocal a bit more further forward and the snare farther back. So let us, just want to do that. Let's let it play.
You say, oh, oh, very simple song, very simple song. I can testify that you are good. You are good, 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 God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good.
So hopefully, and I understand that the level also has an impact on the distance. But as you can see, the snare, just by the numerical values on the buses as well. So the numerical values on the snare versus the numerical values on the vocals, as well as the different types of reverb I'm feeding it, you will hear that the snare is further back in the mix than the vocal, because that's what I want to do, create that dimension and just tuck the snare in behind the vocal. So what Cubase allows you is to pan your effects and have them return to different places. So just to demonstrate this, so on the backing vocals, I also have nested effects, as I showed you guys with a tape to make it nice and creamy. And I have this guy over here, the CG from Metric Halo, right? What I do is I pan the effects. So as you can see there, the effects return to the left. In fact, they return to where the, like, essentially the element is. So if the, like in this case, the soprano is panned hard left, the effects is returning hard left as well. What I find that is when I pan my reverbs, and I only have the necessary reverbs returning to the center. So like the snares reverb returning to the center, the vocal reverb returning to the center, I find that I get a cleaner mix. Our center is cleaner and more focused. And reverbs that are not important, reverbs for synths, guitars and stuff, get pushed wider. Even delays, like you will see the delays on the backing vocals, most likely, unless I'm wrong, also get panned. Yeah, delays of the backing vocals get panned. Effects of the backing vocals. Backing vocals. I love it. I'm gonna keep it for the edit.
Say less.
The effects in the backing vocals get panned as well. And what this also does is, remember I spoke of a sound stage. So on the stage, I have my performers. At the apex and at the vanguard of the performance is the lead singer. He is the most focal point. And then I want sort of to like have stuff behind him and like to fold the sound stage. And why you pan the BVs is to create the effect that there's a lot of people on stage. And as well as panning the effects makes, because now the effects aren't returning to the center, they're returning to the sides, it makes the BV sound wider and bigger. And this is the same for the pianos, the guitars, and so on. And when the effects for the lead vocals returning to the center, it's really giving greater impetus to the presence of the lead vocal as the focal point. It's also giving impetus to things like the snare and leaving the center clean for things like the kick and the bass as well. These are just my findings, things you can observe, use it, don't use it type of thing.
Message.
All right, so let's move on to another global nested effect that I spoke about earlier. It's compression. Now, as a preface, disclosure, I'm looking for the word, but my brain isn't working. I'm not arguing against bus compression or parallel compression as a whole. I'm a big advocate for it. What I'm about to advocate for is wariness and conscientiousness when it comes to applying parallel compression. So just be careful how you do this, and I'm about to demonstrate why. So I used to have parallel compression as a global effect, and the my thinking was, if it works so well on drums, it's gonna work well on other stuff like gluing stuff together. It glues the kit together. Let me glue my backing vocals and my lead vocals together. And this is essentially what I found. Let me demonstrate. Now, we have the lead vocal that I copied. Where it is. We have the lead vocal that I copied. And we are sending this lead vocal to a bus. This vocal bus over here. And what I'm going to do is I loaded good old R comp. And we're just going to find a nice sweet spot. Let's put this on 0. We're going to find a nice sweet spot where the compression works nicely for this vocal. Right, let's find a phrase. So we have this vocal phrase.
I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good.
All right, so we have that lead vocal phrase that we are going to use. And on this vocal bus, I'm just going to put R comp. And I'm going to set some pretty vanilla settings. And we're just going to see how that affects the lead vocal. Get dial it in nicely.
I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are.
So that is like some bog standard compression, like 2 to 3 dB. We can probably deepen a compression deepen a compression a bit more. But this is what I want to demonstrate. So we got it, the compression, let's say where we want it.
I can testify that you are good. You are good.
And as soon as we add the backing vocals, which I already panned and stuff, but let's set those levels to 0. As soon as we add the backing vocals, the compression changes.
I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God.
Okay, so that is an extreme example. But let's get it down to a level where it sounds good.
I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good.
So as you can see, even when I got the backing vocals down to a level that's more agreeable and less exaggerated,
I can testify that you are good. You are good.
you can see that there is 2 to 3 dB extra compression. That is because there is more information coming into the compression. And let's say, which is typical of what happens in a session, right? I want a bit more lead vocal. So I'm automating the lead vocal and I want a bit more lead vocal. Let's say 2 dB. Let's see how the compressor behaves now.
I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You.
As you can see, an extra dB of gain reduction was added. And essentially, what I'm trying to get at is, what I find when really dynamic elements like this share a compressor, you can have level problems. I used to do this, come back the next day, and then just hear issues like my vocal is disappearing at points. I'm getting what sounds like just this my vocals getting sucked in and stuff. That is especially because when you have a beat, you're trying to get the vocal to sit above the beat. And it's easy for me to say, okay, but then let's just lower the vocals and control the input. But when you try to keep the vocals above the beat, this becomes a bit more tricky. And I noticed eventually it was the compression. But let's keep going because there is more to this example, right? I have parallel compression over here that I have on the backing vocals. And I have on the lead vocal as well. So let's just render it active. And let's just render that inactive. And let's have a look at this parallel compression.
Oh, so good. good. I can testify that you are good.
Let's have the parallel compression without the backing vocals, and let's see what it does.
I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are.
So we're getting like a max gain reduction of about 10 dB when we bring in the backing vocals.
I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are so good.
You can see that there is now extra gain reduction, and it comes back to what I spoke about. So if I had both effects on, where I have both the bus and the parallel compression, which is typical because I have compression on my snare and parallel compression on my snare, you are exacerbating the effect. And so I say, oh, I want more BVs now. And I genuinely want more BVs to balance this out. Let's see what happens to the gain reduction.
I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God.
So the gain reduction on both, as dramatically increased. So the more level you feed into it, the greater the effect of the compression. And besides that, I'm also hearing a lot of the attack and compressor properties on the vocal as a byproduct of this as well. What I'm just essentially saying, be wary of this. And one workaround for this, I find, if you're willing to put in the effort, is that you can automate your threshold. So when you automate your threshold, you are essentially trying to get the same amount of compression. This is a lot of work. If you're willing to put in that work, that is a workaround. Another workaround for me and getting to saturation. So you'll see that I'm a huge fan of saturation. And as I said, saturation has some compression properties to it. This is well documented because it shortens the transient just by being on a thing. And you get soft clipping and so on and so on. So let's demonstrate the difference between parallel saturation versus parallel compression. And I think I tried to level match them as processors, right? Let's go.
I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. You are so good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good.
Now, if you are hearing what I'm hearing between the three processes, the saturation, because it doesn't have a gain reduction, it doesn't suddenly clamp down on the incoming information, it is smoother. And let's do this. As I did before, let's listen to them, just the effect itself. So let's turn up this effect and let's just listen to the effects by themselves.
Good God.
That's a tape.
Good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. Good. I can testify that you are good. You are good. Good, good God. Good. I can testify that you are good.
So you can really hear the effect of the compressor clamping down. And this is not even an aggressive, I made sure that I don't have aggressive attack and release settings. This is quite I would say, a medium-ish attack for vocals, a slowish attack for vocals. And just to demonstrate the fact or the impact it has as a parallel effect on vocals. And the reason for this is drums are more steady in their performance, especially digital drums. So when you dial it in as nested or parallel effect, you're going to get more or less the same gain reduction every time, and you can automate it to get great results. Whereas with vocals, because vocals are a bit more dynamic and seemingly more susceptible to the effects of compression, it has that effect on it. And for that reason, that's why you see the tape on the vocals. I love the sound of parallel saturation on the vocals. I don't distort it, I just add enough creaminess from the processor to get the effect of it to thicken up the vocal. And if I were to zoom out, I have, because of what we just discussed, I have parallel saturation as a global effect. So I have this bad boy over here, the black box, as a global parallel effect on certain key things. As I said, it doesn't go on everything. It's just things that I want thicker. I find when I boost this pentode effect over here, it has the effect of moving stuff forward. And this is done very subtly. As you can see, it's minus 29 odd on the drums, where it is because I want the vocal more focal, more in your face, it is fed the most. So if we look at this FBB over here, it is minus 24. Because I'm trying to create this gradation effect, you look at the backing vocals next. Is it on here? Minus 28. You look at the drums, as I said, it was minus 29. Minus 29. Let's look at the bass, and you will see the bass is minus 31. I doubt it's on anything else. Is it on loops? Nope, it's not on anything else. Those are the effects that I wanted to push a bit more forward in the mix. Those are the effects that I wanted to shine and bump and everything. So we're gonna play the mix. And what I want you to do is just listen out for that gradation that I'm talking about. The moving stuff forward, stuff further wide, stuff further back. Because that's essentially what I'm trying to create with the global and the nested effects. So let's listen to it and see how it sounds.
You say, very simple song, very simple song. I can testify that you are good. You are good, good, good. God, you are so good. I can testify that you are good. You are good, good, good. Very simple, everybody. Say.
So hopefully the effect comes through of what I'm talking about. All right, boys and girls, that's where we're gonna leave it for today. As I said, I wanted to go from some basic ideas like inserts and the effect they have, and global effects like global EQs, global compressors, and so on. And then focus in on something that I do to really thicken up my mixes and make them slam just a little bit harder, like the nested effects I have on certain things, how I approach reverb now, how I approach global versus local versus nested effects. And you know, a rose by any other name would still smell as sweet. So even though I rebranded some of these things like local effect being an insert, global effect, you know, master bus effect, they are the same thing. I just wanted to show you essentially my methodology, my philosophy around mixing, and how I think of these things, how I used to think of something, the problems I encountered with that thing, and how I think of it now. Who knows, this could change in the future, but that's how I have it now, and it gives me great results, and I have a lot of happy clients. And if you enjoyed the content on display here today, don't be shy to hit the buttons on whichever platform you are seeing this. Order the love, the fire emojis, the subscribes, the everything, all the interaction. Bruce and I, we are overwhelmed by it, and we really appreciate you guys. Next week, we have a treat for you guys. Now I just need to look what we have next week because we're filming we're filming so much. I've gone from a mixing engineer and a producer to a content creator. Yes, we have the digital drums master class. So I'm really going to be delving into how I, same with the live drums master class, how I get into composing my drums. It's a real treat for you guys, especially like me who doesn't have access to a live drummer. And if you're looking forward to that episode and more, because there's more on drums and vocals and things come in, don't be shy to hit that follow and that subscribe so you can be notified when that content drops. All right, boys and girls, as always, love what you do and do what you love. Peace.